Hi everyone, how are you doing? I hope you had a beautiful Christmas. Welcome to this episode of the More in You podcast. This is a very special episode. It's the very last one for the year 2022, and it's going to be a very exciting one. Actually, something interesting happened to me. It wasn't something very pleasant, but guess what? I think maybe somebody on here was really hoping this would happen. So I think it was about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, not 3 weeks really, but maybe 2 weeks ago, I had a webinar, I had a masterclass that I did on, 6 practical pillars to help you position yourself for 2023, for impact, influence, and wealth in 2023 and beyond. And guess what? I went to send it out to the people that attended the webinar and I could not find it. So I lost that masterclass. So painful, like almost 2 hours of work, and it was lost. And I was really upset for the first couple of days. I was like, what am I going to do? But guess what? As I was thinking of, the last episode I'm going to share for the year, what to share in it, this simply dropped my heart. Why not share, 7 mistakes you must avoid for you to position yourself for impact, influence, and wealth in 2023? So guess what? I lost it in that, I lost that masterclass. But here I am this week. I'm going to be sharing those 7 mistakes with you. I'm going to be sharing about them. I'm going to be sharing how you can position yourself for impact, influence, and wealth in 2023. So it's a win-win situation. It was upsetting that I lost it, but I guess I lost and I just thought, I don't know what I did, but whatever it was, I have the opportunity to do the masterclass again in how would I put it? In the form of a podcast. So guess what? You get to learn from that. So today I'm sharing with you 7 mistakes you must avoid if you want to position yourself for impact, influence, and wealth in 2023 and beyond. I'm so excited. If this is your very first time here, my name is Olu Olabode, as you must have heard. I'm always excited to be here. I bring phenomenal guests as well. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. If you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, if you're watching on my YouTube channel, because I do an audio podcast and a video one. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for being here. And while you're on YouTube, you can do well and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Guess what it does? It helps other people to see. The more people subscribe, the more other people find it easier to find the videos, the more I get encouraged and excited to do more videos. So if you're watching on YouTube, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe to Olu Olabode, the Purpose Midwife YouTube channel. And guess what? I every time, and not even as you subscribe, don't forget as well to hit the notification bell. Don't forget to do that. Guess what? As you do that, it helps me to bring you more faith-building, motivational messages. Okay, let's get into today's podcast. So 7 mistakes you must avoid if you want to position yourself for impact, influence, and wealth in 2023 and beyond. So guess what? One of my coaches often say, actually, she's one of my mentors. She's my very first mentor that started me off on dreaming big, on thinking outside the box. She's my evergreen mentor. I love so much. She often asks this question. Her name is Teresa Belfort. She often asks this question. Imagine it's December 2023. So it would say, imagine it's December the 31st of next year. What would have needed to have happened for you to say, this has been my best year so far? What would you need to have happened for you to say, this has been the best year of my life? This has been my best year so far. What would have needed to have happened? That's a question she often asks. And every time she asks that question, it just kind of gets me thinking. And so today I want to ask you that question as well. As you're listening, as you're watching, what would have needed to have happened in the year 2023? On the 31st of December, as you look back at the year, what would have needed to have happened for you to say, this has been the best year of my life? This and this has happened. What would you have needed? How would you have needed to position yourself for impact, for influence, for wealth that God has prepared for you and I? How would you have needed to position yourself? So today we want to talk about positioning and why it's so important, and some of the mistakes that people, some of the mistakes that you and I make and doesn't make us position ourselves. So looking at that word positioning simply means to put or arrange someone or something in a particular place or way. That's what it means. And you might wonder, why am I positioning myself? Why do I need to position myself? Because positioning enables you to access, embrace, and take hold of all that God has made ready for you. You know, for you and I, there are things that God has made ready for 2023. There are things that He's positioned for you to take hold of. There are opportunities that He's positioned for you to take hold of. But if you and I do not position ourselves, we may never take hold of that which He has. So my question to you again, as I say this, is how are you preparing yourself? How are you positioning yourself for that which you desire to see in your life in 2023? How are you positioning yourself? How are you positioning yourself? Positioning simply means, remember what it said it means? It means putting yourself in a particular way, arranging yourself, or let me say, it means you getting into a position. And when I talk about positioning here, often I look at it from a woman giving birth. It always just helps me, because if a woman is going to give birth, guess what? She's going to have to get into a position. But there are certain things she has to put in place for her to do this. For her to do this, she's going to have to put some certain things in place. She's going to have to put some certain things in place for her to be positioned. For example, if a woman is going to give birth, she's going to have to know she's pregnant. She's going to have to discover what she needs. She's going to have to get ready for the baby. She's going to have to get her mind ready. She's going to have to get her body ready. She's going to have to get her environment ready. She's going to have to get her other children, if she has any other children, ready. The same way when you and I are positioning ourselves for impact, for influence, for wealth in 2023, there are certain positions that you and I would have to put in place. I wrote here, without positioning, there is no birthing. So the same way you and I would birth a dream, then you would birth a vision, you would birth all that God is laying in your heart for next year. Without positioning, if you see a woman that wants to give birth, if she is not positioned, there is a posture she needs to take when she's going to give birth. Without that positioning, she cannot give birth. So I want to share today about positioning. And you might never have really looked at it from this way, but when just look at it that maybe there are some of these things that I might not be doing, that I might need to put in place. Positioning is a way, is a way that you put yourself in place, ready to run a race. Positioning is actually, that's a great way to say it. When a runner is going to run, when you look at people that, for example, look at the Olympics, when they're going to run, you have someone in lane position in 1, lane position in 2, lane position in 3. It prepares them for the race ahead. They focus on what they have to do. They are set, they are ready. Once they hear go, they're ready to go. But if they are not positioned, guess what? They would not even be able to say, I won the race. So you and I must get ready. So positioning is a way of getting ready for all that God wants to give to you and I. I'm going to get more into it. And positioning really starts in the mind. So you and I must renew our minds to the fact that God has equipped us to impact, to influence. He has impact to take hold of the wealth He has prepared for us. The word of God says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So your mind must be determined, to take hold of all that 2023 has in store for you. And that's what I'm talking about today. So without positioning, guess what? You can't take hold of it. So let's look at those 7 mistakes that you must avoid if you want to position yourself for impact, influence, and well, let's get into it. So mistake number 1 is not spending time to review the current year. Mistake number one simply means that, you're finishing 1 year like the way we're finishing 2022, and you're just jumping straight into the next year, 2023, and you're not reviewing your current year. You're not saying, what are the things I could have done better in 2022? What are the things I can do better as 2023 is coming, is coming in a couple of days? So mistake number 1 is, if you don't spend time reviewing the year, you must spend time reviewing the year. You must spend time asking yourself questions. You must spend time asking yourself what works. You must spend time asking yourself what didn't work. You must spend time asking yourself, what do I need to stop doing? You must ask yourself, what do I need to start doing? Those are some of the ways that you review your year. And review is so powerful. Review is reflection. Review is you turning, thinking about what has happened that year. Review enables you to reflect. John Maxwell often says, reflection turns experience into insight. So when you reflect on experience, when you reflect on what you did this year, when you reflect on what you didn't do, when you reflect on how you could have done it better, guess what happens? It becomes insight for next year. It becomes insight as a foundation, things that you can build on for the coming year. So review turns experience into insight. So review is so important. And so the first mistake is, if I don't sit down to review, to check where I am, if I don't evaluate where I am right now, how can I now say I'm stepping out and starting the very next year? So I might end up repeating the same mistakes I did in the current year, the very next year. So review is so important. That's mistake one. Mistake two is running without seeing. Ooh, this I can't evaluate enough. You were never designed to go where you couldn't see someone. That's a quote from someone I listen to often. You were never designed, Dr. Bill Winston says, I say, you were never designed to go where you couldn't see. God has designed you and I to go only where we can see. And so often people run without a vision. So stepping into a new year without a vision is a no-no. Is a mistake you and I must not make. It's a mistake that we can avoid. If we want to impact lives, if you want to influence lives, guess what? We must run with a vision. And a vision, Cindy Trim says this, which I love the way she describes. She says, a vision is a divine mental preview of coming attractions. A vision is a divine mental preview of coming attractions. It's something that you can, a vision is that divinely you can see what is coming ahead of you. A vision gives you the ability to own your future. And we see this in the life of Abraham. We see this. The word of God says in Genesis 13:14-17, it says, after Lot had gone, the Lord said to Abraham, look as far as you can see in every direction, north and south, east and west. I am giving all this land as far as you can see to you and your descendants as a permanent possession. Genesis 13:14-17, as a permanent possession. But he said to him, look as far as you can see. What God was saying to Abraham at the time was, look, visualize, imagine, imagine big, think beyond the borders, think beyond where you are right now. As far as you can imagine, I'm ready to give it to you. If you can't think it, if you can't see it in your imagination, if you can't see it, I cannot deliver it into your hands. Helen Keller says, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. So we were never designed to go where we cannot see. We cannot go towards where we can't see. And really, when you say that, you think, where else do I get vision from? You get vision from the owner of the vision. You get vision from the one that leads you. You get vision from God Almighty. He is the one that leads you. And how do you know that you get it from him? Habakkuk 2:1-3 says this. It says, what's God going to say to my question? I'm braced for the worst. This is Habakkuk 2:1-3 Message version. I'll climb to the lookout tower and scan the horizon. I'll wait to see what God says, how he'll answer my complaint. And then God answered, write this. Write what you see. So I'm asking somebody listening to this, somebody watching, what do you see? So vision really is you sitting there with God and saying, God, open my eyes, open my spiritual eyes beyond my physical eyes. Open my spiritual eyes. What can I see? Open my eyes to see what you see regarding me, regarding 2023. Open my eyes to what you have in store for me. Open my eyes, give me wisdom, give me an understanding of what you see regarding me. Help me to see the way you see. Help me to grasp grasp what you have for me. Help me to grasp an understanding of what you have for me. Help me to grasp an idea of what you have for me. God said to Habakkuk here, write what you see. Write it in big block letters so it can be read on the run. And I always say, and that's why that mistake is running without seeing. If you cannot see, you cannot run. You cannot run with what you cannot see because we're not designed. Remember what that quote, to go where we cannot see. So the vision message is a witness pointing to what is coming. It says it aches for the coming. It can hardly wait. And it doesn't lie. It seems slow in coming. Wait. It's on its way. It will come right on time. What he's saying there in that version is, when you see the vision, you have the ability to wait. When you see the vision, you can grasp that ability to wait. When you see the vision, guess what happens? You're no more thinking, is it possible? Because now you begin to see what is possible and you begin to walk into what is possible. And even when it seems like it's not coming, guess what happens? You are that that seeing enables you to wait. It gives you the strength to wait for what is coming. It gives you that strength to wait. And so for you and I to step into what God has for us in 2023, we must sit with him and get that vision. We must receive that vision. We must look at it, things the way he's seeing it. We must ask him to open our eyes because if we don't see what he sees regarding us, we would not be able to step into it. I have here, vision empowers your mind to conceive it. Vision is so powerful. It empowers your mind to conceive it. Until your mind conceives it, your heart and hands cannot receive it until your mind conceives it. As a man thinks in his heart, Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So what you see is what you can run with. If you can't see it, you can't run with it. If I can't see it, I can't run with it. There's some things that God is laying upon my heart for 2020, and I'm like, Lord, but how? But I know, as he's seen, you know what I begin to do? He's just saying to me, visualize what I am showing you. As I write it down, he's saying, visualize it. The more I visualize it, the more I meditate upon it, the more I can conceive it. And the more I can conceive it, the more I can run with that vision. So that as that vision begins to unfold, because I can conceive it, I begin to get excited. Even when it seems like I don't really understand it, it helps me to conceive where God is taking me with that vision. And I have here, why vision? Because vision brings you into a plane of spiritual growth and development. That's what Cindy Trim says that in one of her books on the transforming power of vision. She says, vision brings you into a plane of spiritual growth and development. Vision will enable you to operate in the realm of courage and faith. So when you look at the life of, for example, the woman with the issue of blood, that woman had a vision of healing. She caught that vision. She sat there and said, God, I want to imagine what you have for me. You have healing. Healing is your plan for me. Healing is what you have ordained for me. Healing is what you have written down for me. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to visualize healing. And as she began to ponder on just touching the hem of garment of Jesus, guess what? She began to visualize healing. And as she visualized it, she knew that what she could do, she could see herself touching and she could see her healing. So if she could not visualize healing, there was no way she would have been able to take a hold of her healing when she touched the hem of the garment of Jesus. And so for you and I, we are going to be able to visualize where we're going. Vision will enable us to operate in that realm of courage and faith. There are things that God is going to drop in your heart to do in 2023. If you cannot visualize it, guess what? You will not be able to have courage. You will not be able to step out in faith. Vision is what determines what the goals for the year will be. I tell people, it is only when you get a vision that you can say, I'm setting goals. Do not attempt to set goals without a vision. Vision will empower you to take a hold of new frontiers. Ooh, did someone hear that? There are new frontiers arranged for you. There are new frontiers prepared for you. But vision will empower you to take a hold of new frontiers. Vision will help you to align yourself to God's purpose for you. So the Bible says in Jeremiah 29:11 that he has plans for you, plans of good and not of evil. He has plans for you. The word of God says in Psalm 57:2 that his plans for his purpose for you will be completed. He has a purpose for your life. And as you begin to visualize, sit with him and visualize what he has for you, guess what happens? That vision allows you to align yourself to the purposes he has for your life. Because what he says of you leads you towards his purpose for you. It leads you to begin to run with his purpose. He leads you to begin to say, you know what? Okay, this is what God has for me. As you begin to align with that vision, you are aligning with that purpose, and you'll be amazed where it will take you. Nothing limits achievement like small thinking. In 2023, there's no room for small thinking. Nothing expands possibilities like unleashed imagination. William Atterward said this. Nothing limits achievements like small thinking. You must tell yourself, I refuse to think small in the new year. So, and that's why you must catch a hold of that vision. Open your imagination. Let God help you to dream beyond where you are right now. Let God help you to think beyond where you are right now. Often vision is scary when you get it, when you sit with God and he opens your eyes to that vision. It looks scary, but guess what? If you will just sit with him and just let him begin to work on your mind, on your imagination, you'll be amazed. So vision helps you to imagine the future. You can reimagine your future in the place of vision. In the place of vision, you possess imagination. You possess. Imagination comes alive. It is the instrument by which you create your world. Neville Goddard said that you possess, there's imagination. The instrument by which you create your world is in the place of reimagining the future. So key. And vision stirs up faith in you. Vision is so powerful. It stirs up faith in you. So I've spoken about, not evaluating the current year. I've spoken about not seeing a vision before you run. That was mistake number 2. Mistake number 3, and they all are steps that lead to one another. Mistake number 3 is not spending enough time to pray, plan, and prepare. That's mistake number 3. So as you catch that vision, guess what? As you catch that vision, there's something you must spend time in prayer. The place of prayer is the place of divine insight and foresight. We must learn from mentors and coaches. We do learn from mentors and coaches. We do learn from them. There's no substitute for them. We do learn from mentors and coaches, but the place of divine insight cannot be substituted by anything. So you and I must spend time praying. You must spend time planning. You must spend time preparing. In the place of prayer, God helps you to remove limitations from your mind. In the place of prayer, God will help you avoid venturing into the wrong projects, businesses, and more. In the place of prayer, prayer releases heaven's armies of angels to assist you. Prayer releases heaven's armies. In that place of prayer, you are equipped. You know what? Heaven's armies are released to you. In the place of prayer is where divine strategies are downloaded to us. When we get to that place of prayer, strategies are downloaded to us. And when I say prayer here, I mean the two-way prayer, which means I'm praying, I'm speaking to God, and I'm praying, I'm listening for instructions. I'm praying, prayer is a two-way thing. You're listening to God you're praying to God, you're speaking to Him, you're asking for insights. But also as you pray, there's a point whereby you begin to listen. And as you drop strategies, as you drop imagination, as you drop instructions, you're meditating upon those instructions. So prayer is a two-way thing. You're listening to Him, you're praying to Him, you're asking for instructions, but also now you are listening for those instructions. So direction comes in that place of prayer. Why must we spend time in prayer? Clarity comes in that place of prayer. Courage is released in that place of prayer. Prophetic insight comes in that place of prayer. Prayer is so powerful and is so key. So mistake number 3, people don't spend enough time praying, planning, and preparing. When we talk about planning, Benjamin Franklin says, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. So you must develop a plan for the year before it starts. What are the plans you have drawn up for the year? If I ask you. Some people don't often have any plans drawn up for the year. What are the plans you've drawn up for the year? Somebody share with me. What are the plans? You can share those plans with us. Let's get to know them. You write down the plans you have for the year. Well, planning does this. I read this. I got this from one of Cindy Trim's books. It's her book on vision. It says planning helps you to visualize. And visualization comes in. She talks about these 4 steps, which I found so key. She says, discover. Planning helps you to, as you are visualizing, you discover. You begin to ask, what is working? Guess what? When you find out what is working, it helps you to appreciate what the things that you've done right. And as you appreciate what the things that you've done right, you can say, okay, this I can keep. There are things I've done right. Now, visualization helps you to dream what is possible. Remember, we spoke about imagination. It helps you to envision. It helps you to look beyond where you are right now. Planning helps you to design what could be, helps you to determine what could be. Now, beyond where I am right now, beyond what I'm doing right now, what are the things that could be in 2023? What are the doors that could be open to me in 2023? What are the people that God is going to bring to my life to align with me, to help me bring the things He's putting in my hands to pass in 2023? And then it helps you to deliver what will be. It helps you to execute. It helps you to create new paths in 2023. Oh, planning helps you to visualize. Planning is so key. It is so key. You and I must not push planning aside. And the third thing in that mistake I mentioned is I mentioned pray, plan, prepare. So as I mentioned, even before we go to prepare, what's your plan for 2023? What is the vision God is already laying in your heart? What are the plans you are putting in place? Then it leads to what are the goals that you're going to write down, and what are the action steps you're going to take hold of. Those are the 4 things. If you share this, you must definitely mention that you got it from me, because those are 4 key things that you and I must do when it comes to planning. We must think. In my planning, there must be vision, there must be plans, there must be goals, and there must be action. You must have a vision from God. Then strategies lead to you putting down plans. It leads to you writing your goals, and then it leads to you taking action. So you must not just receive the vision, but you must also receive the strategies to actualize, to take it from the dream state to reality. So as you're thinking, what is your plan? And you can look at this from, when an architect begins to build a house, when an architect builds a house, when houses are going to be built, maybe for a project, let's talk about a project, you would have the architect draw the plan. Sorry, not build the house. The architect doesn't build the house. The architect draws the plan. So you would have the plans will be drawn out. You would have, first of all, they have to visualize, what do we want to build on this expanse of land? There is that vision. This is what we want to build. Now they have to communicate that vision to the architect. Or now the plans are drawn out. You can see them drawing the plans. It looks on paper. Somebody that doesn't really understand the planning would not really understand what they've drawn on paper. But now they begin to write, okay, what is going to be? How are we going to get this from the dream state to reality state? Then they begin to write, okay, these are the things we're going to have to put in place. And now we're going to have to take action on the plans, which are now we have our goals and we're going to take action on them. So it is so important to take it from the dream state to reality. And that's what we want to do with 2023. We don't want 2023 to remain a dream state. The things that God is leading your hands, the vision you're receiving, what are going to be the plans you're going to put in place? What are the goals you're going to put in place so that those goals are what you're going to actualize on, the goals that you write down. Now you're going to have action steps to the goals that you're going to write down. And then mistake number 4, let's go to mistake number 4. Mistake number 4 is often we don't have a posture of positioning of faith. We don't have a posture and positioning of faith. So I mentioned faith a little bit when talking about vision, but I want to go a little bit more into faith, even in this mistake. So faith takes you into uncharted waters of greatness. Faith takes you into uncharted waters of greatness. That was written in that book I wrote about. I read a book on vision. Faith takes you, and I wonder, what does this mean? It simply means that there are waters of greatness. There is greatness that you're called to step into in 2023. You have, remember I mentioned courage and faith. You getting that vision, you writing down those plans, you stepping out in faith is going to be necessary for you to actualize everything God is going to do in your heart. You're going to have faith in God. You're going to have faith in yourself. Faith in yourself means believe you can do it. You're going to have confidence in God. You're going to have confidence in yourself. Because when God says to you, do you believe this is possible? You are going to have to say, yes, I believe it's possible. You're going to have to believe that, God, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I might not know how, but I believe I have the ability to do it. Because when you have faith in God, now you're going to have to step out of faith. You're going to have to step out. I often talk about the disciple Peter. People talk about Peter a lot, that he had a very large mouth. But one thing I always credit Peter for was, Peter was the only disciple bold enough to say, Master, can I come and meet you on the sea? Peter was the only one bold enough. He stepped out in faith on the waters. He walked on water. Till today, we always say Peter was the only one that walked on water. And so you must have faith in God to do what he's calling you to do in 2023. There are uncharted waters of greatness that he's going to call you and I to. They would look like, this is so hard. But if you would just have faith, God, you're helping me, and you will just develop confidence in him and develop confidence in yourself. I can do this. And one of the ways that you develop confidence in yourself is by speaking out confidence, by believing God and by speaking it out. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. By affirming yourself, by confessing the word of God over yourself, by confessing the word of God over everything that God is calling you to do, by declaring before you even get there, by declaring that you're able to do it, by declaring that, you know what, I call those things that be not as though they were. I see greatness before me. I'm stepping into that greatness. I am taking a hold of that greatness. I'm doing everything God has called me to do. I might not know how it's going to be possible, but I take a hold of it and I step into it in Jesus' name. So faith in God, because he has the ability to make things happen. You have to have faith in God because he has the ability to make things happen beyond the ability that you have. And then faith in yourself because you have to take the steps of faith. So you can't help you do that. You and I have to take the steps of faith. And guess what? It's time to take the limits off. I say this so often. No more limitations. Let's take the limits off ourselves. Let's stop telling ourselves, I can't do this. Oh, maybe this is not for me. I'm not qualified. I'm not good enough for this. Maybe this is for the next person. No, it is time for you and I to take the limits off. It's time for you to take the limits off. You and I have to say, nothing is going to stop me from positioning myself for all God is calling me to do in 2023. Somebody say this. Nothing is going to stop me from positioning myself for all God is going to call me to do in 2023. I refuse to position. I refuse for anything to stop me. And Mark 9:23 is a great one. I want to say this from three different versions. In Mark 9:23 is a verse that talks about believing. Jesus said, the TPC version I love so much. He says, Jesus said to him, "What do you mean if you are able to believe? All things are possible to the believer." What do you mean if? He says here, if you are able to believe, all things are possible. So my question to you is, do you believe God is able to drop all He's calling you to do in 2020? Do you believe He's able to help you do them? The message said, Jesus said, if there are no ifs among believers, anything can happen. There are no ifs among believers, anything can happen. Then the New King James says, Jesus said to him, if you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes. So do you believe? That's the question. Do you believe God can take you into the realms of greatness? Do you believe God can take you into that uncharted realms of greatness? And the question another question I want to ask you is, what does your mind see? When you think of impacting others, when you think of influencing others in 2023, what do you see? Do you see problems or do you see possibilities? What you see determines what you believe and what you do. So even before you step into the year, what are you going to believe? What are you going to believe? Are you going to believe there are problems that are going to come at you? When challenges come, are you going to see them as problems? Are you going to see them as possibilities? It's up to you. And if you still doubt that impact is waiting on you, because we're talking about some mistakes that will not help us to position ourselves, I want to remind somebody listening, I want to remind somebody watching that you have the DNA of greatness. You might say, oh, really? What if I don't think I do? I want to remind you today, you come from a greater God who declared that you have greatness on the inside of you. 1 John chapter 4 verse 4 says, little children, you can be certain that you belong to God and have conquered them. For the one who is living in you is far greater than the one who is living in the world. You have Jesus living on the inside of you. You have the Holy Spirit living on the inside of you, which means you have greatness living on the inside of you. And if I have the Holy Spirit, it means I have the wisdom to actualize. I have the wisdom. I have the one that is going to lead me. I have ability beyond my years. I have the ability beyond what I know to do in my ability. I have the ability beyond what I know to do. I have God living on the inside of me, which means I have His ability, I have His power, I have His creativity. What else do I think I need to know? So impact is waiting on you because of the greatness that you carry on the inside of you. I want to remind someone that might doubt this today. And so you and I must be willing to walk by faith. You must be willing to see with the eyes of faith. You must be willing to step into impossibilities as you watch them turn to possibilities. You must be willing. Mistake 5 is not being intentional about your personal growth or how to increase in capacity. So guess what? This one is talking about, if you don't have, if you're thinking it's just going to happen, personal growth is just going to happen, impact is just going to happen, no. Increase in capacity is going to happen. It's not just going to happen, no. I want to share a little bit about you, a little bit with you about the law of expansion. I love this thing. This is one of John Maxwell's laws, and he talks about the law of expansion. I like so much because he talks about growth. He says growth always increases your capacity. The only way to increase your capacity intentionally is to change the way you approach personal growth. You must change the way you think, and you must change your actions. You must change the way you think, and you must change your actions. I actually did a podcast, I think about 2 weeks ago, on this particular law of expansion. I will drop the link in the YouTube, I'll drop the link below for those watching on YouTube. So that, and if you're listening to the podcast, you can go to my YouTube channel, Oluwalabode, The Purpose Midwife. I will drop the link for this podcast so that you can actually listen. I shared fully on the law of expansion. It was saying that you can only increase your capacity by doing what? By changing the way you approach personal growth. So you must change the way you think, and you must change your actions. And so I really shared about that. So if you want to listen to more about that, go and listen to that podcast about 2 weeks ago. And I want to say, how are you going to, how are you doing? Or rather, how are you going to do this? What are you going to do to increase in capacity to position yourself for impact, influence, and wealth? I'm asking that question. What system and structure are you setting in place to handle that capacity? And for some of you that have businesses, for some of you that, even in your careers, even in our homes, systems and structure is the bedrock to everything that we do. Without the right systems and structures, we cannot move forward. Without the right systems and structure, we cannot increase capacity. So in our homes, we need to check our systems and structure. In business, we need to check our systems and structure. In our churches, we need to check our systems and structure. What we have in place currently, can they handle the capacity of what we're trusting God to do in the next year? Can the systems and structure we currently have, can they handle the capacity we're looking at? Can they handle them? Because if we don't, we might need to, overhaul. We might need to look at it again. What are we doing to ensure that we are refining the gifts, skills, and abilities, until you become a master at them? What are you doing? The gifts within you, the skills within you, the abilities within you. What are you doing to master them so that you can become a master at them? What are you doing? Do you have a business model? Is it a viable one? Somebody might say, oh, what is a business model? If you want to find out more about a business model, you can join my mentoring academy. We talk a lot about that, Oluwalabodi Mentoring Academy. And also with one-on-one coaching, we talk about having a business model that would help someone. I'll also drop a link in the description if you want to find out about the Mentoring Academy as well. I would also do that as well. I would drop a link in there. Okay, so let's go to that. One of the things I want to share was I talk about this increase in capacity were two men in the Bible called Joseph and Daniel. Remember I said this is the masterclass. I'm giving this to you like on a platter of gold. Oh, all the work I did. Joseph and Daniel are two key people that you see that when you talk about impact and influence, when you talk about the word of God, you have to talk about Joseph and Daniel because both of them had impact, they had influence, and eventually both of them had wealth because of what they were able to do. And you can see both of them, Joseph had two gifts. He had the gift of dreaming, the gift of dream interpretation. Daniel had the same. But what they did was that they both put a demand on themselves to increase in capacity. Until you and I put a demand on ourselves to increase in capacity, we might never see it happen. If you don't increase in capacity, you will never really see it happen in your life. And so it is so important for you and I to put a demand on yourself. So in 2023, how are you going to put a demand on yourself? What are the courses that you're going to take in 2023, to increase in capacity so that you can position yourself for impact, for influence, for wealth? What are the courses that are going to help to increase your capacity? What are the courses you're going to take? What are the mentors you're going to have? What are the coaches? Who are the coaches you're going to have? What are the programs you're going to sign up for? If you do not pay attention to those areas, you might not increase in capacity. And if you don't increase in capacity, you might not be able to position yourself for impact, influence, and wealth. Be intentional about positioning yourself for impact. It has to be intentional. So you must not be content with being average or mediocre. It's an intentional thing. Just like your master often said that you will never really grow intentionally. You will never grow accidentally. You might grow as you get older accidentally, but you will never grow personally accidentally. You're going to have to be intentional about growth. So you must not be content with being average, being mediocre. You and I, it's time for us to say, I'm going to be diligent in 2023. I'm going to be excellent. I'm going to go over and beyond. I'm going to do my best in this new year so that success can come to me. I'm going to put in my best. I'm going to become the best version of myself in this year. I'm going to do my best. And if we look at the life of Daniel and Joseph, we see this. They continually became the best till they became a master at what God had called them to. They became a master at their gifts, a master at refining their gifts. And then kings began to put a demand on the gifts at which they carried. For you and I, for kings to come to, Isaiah 60 talked about kings coming to the brightness of our rising. You and I are going to have to put a demand on the gifts and their skills and the abilities that we have within us. You and I are going to have to put a demand. I want to read something to you. Daniel 1:1-3. It says, in the third year of the reign of Joachim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Lord delivered Joachim, king of Judah, into his hand, along with some of the articles from the temple of God. Then he carried off the temple of his God in Babylonia and put in the treasure house of his God. There was something I wanted to read as well. I think verse 3 says, then the king ordered Aspenas, chief of his court officials, to bring into the king's service some of the Israelites from the royal family and the nobility, young men without any physical defect, handsome, showing aptitude for every kind of learning, well informed, quick to understand, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. So they were, you know what, guess what, they were showing aptitude for every kind of learning. They were always saying, I want to learn, I have to learn, I have to learn. They put in the work, they wanted to learn. They showed aptitude for every kind of learning. They were well informed. They were quick to understand. They did not, they did not waste time regarding that. And they were qualified. So you and I, we are going to have to show aptitude for every kind of learning. What ways are you going to show aptitude for learning in the coming year? How are you going to show aptitude for learning in the coming year? So I want to encourage us to develop ourselves. I want to encourage you. When you develop yourself, you develop your capacity. So you and I must be determined to increase in value till people are willing to place a demand on the value you carry. One of the verses that I love so much, it says, a gift opens the way and ushers the giver into the presence of the gift. The ESV version says, a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before the great. Another version says, a man's gift enlarges him and sits him among princes. Enlarges him. So you're looking for enlargement, you're looking for impact, you're looking for influence. We're going to have to develop yourself. I'm going to have to develop myself. And guess what? I find that as we develop ourselves, God begins to bring us into prepared places because we are ready to access those doors. Often, if we don't develop ourselves to a certain capacity, we cannot handle the doors that are opening up onto us. We either access the doors and we misuse the opportunity, or we access the doors and we lose the opportunity. But if we are prepared, then we can access it and then we can enjoy the opportunity. We can step into it. We can maximize that opportunity. So if you and I are going to have to maximize the opportunity in 2023, you and I are going to have to develop ourselves. So don't let that mistake be your thing this year. Don't let that mistake be your thing. Mistake number 6 is not leveraging on relationships. What are those relationships God is bringing into your life? Relationships, I always say relationship is a currency. It's a powerful currency. It's a powerful currency that God uses for us. People that He brings into our lives are for a reason. He brings friends into your life for a reason, to help you become the best version of yourself. And that's why you have to watch the people that are in your circle, in your inner circle. You have to watch who they are. You have to watch to make sure that you have the right people in your circle. You have to watch who are your mentors, who are your coaches, who are the relations that you can leverage on as you go into the new year. Who are the people that you need to cut off from? I was thinking to myself, I need to check my contact list. I need to delete the names that are not useful anymore. Why am I keeping them if maybe there are people that I don't even have contact with anymore? We need to watch the relationships that come into our life, and we can leverage on those relationships, because you're often 2, 3, 4 relationships away from the person that you need. You're often 2, 3, 4 relationships away from the person that you need. So it's important for you and I to leverage on those relationships. And number 7 is you and I must be grateful. So the mistake number 7 is often people are not grateful even for that which they have right now, or they are not grateful for that, they're not grateful for what they've achieved in the past. And one of my mentors would say, a grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. If you want God to do more in 2023, you and I must be grateful for that which He's done this year, 2022. We must always remember to remind Him and say, thank you, Lord, for that which you've done. I am so grateful for that which you've done. I am so grateful. I'm so happy. I'm so thankful, because the more our hearts are grateful, the more we can access that which He wants to do. The more our hearts are open to receive, the more He wants to bless you with more. So you and I must be grateful. So I hope one of those 7 mistakes, has spoken to you. And I want you to look at those 7 mistakes and ask, which one of these am I guilty of? Or could I be guilty of these 7 mistakes? And then the reverse is what you need to be doing. So a recap of that, you and I would need to review the current year. We need to get the vision before running. You and I need to pray, plan, prepare. You and I have to have a plan. Excuse me. A posture and a position of faith. You and I have to be intentional about increasing, have to be intentional about personal growth and increasing capacity. You and I have to learn to leverage on relationships, the ones that God has given to us. And you and I must learn to be grateful. It's so important. Those mistakes, you don't want to make those mistakes. And as you and I find out, as you and I begin to work on those things and say, okay, maybe there are some I have made. Let me look back and pick up there. As you step into 2023, you're able to position yourself for those areas. And if you're there saying, you know what, I need somebody to help me position myself for any of these 7 areas, guess what? I'm a purpose midwife, and I'm also a life purpose coach. I'm a I'm a book writing coach. So if you need help to say, okay, I need help with my vision, I need help with stepping out of limitations, I need help with aligning myself with my purpose, I need help with maximizing my gifts, my skills, my abilities, I need help with setting up structure and system for impact, influence, and work in 2023. I need help for creating my custom-made intentional growth plan and executing. I need help in any of these areas. I want to invite you in 2023, in January, towards the end of January, I'm going to be starting the position for intentional impact coaching, and I want to invite you to that. I'm so excited about it. It's a 3-month coaching whereby we work on the 6 key areas that we mentioned. 7 gratitude, we'll also be speaking about that as well. I'm going to be working with you. It's a 3-month coaching, and what it is that is about. It's a 12-week coaching. So in that coaching, you're going to get group sessions, you're going to get one-on-one sessions, we're going to help you set up your business model. You are going to have access, for those of you that want to be writers, you're going to have access to my Write Your Book in 30 Days online course that has your Write Your Book in 30 Days ebook. It has your Write Your Book in 30 Days workbook. It has your 30-day inspirational planners to help you write each day for 30 days. You're going to have access to the 10 videos on how to write your book in 30 days. You're going to have access to all the growth sessions held in the Mentoring Academy in 2022. You're going to have access to the 3 masterclasses I held in 2022. You're going to have access to the Power and Business of Your Book masterclass, which is happening in February. All of this, you're going to be getting this. And the value for all of this is actually $4,829. That's the value for the coaching. But guess what? For a limited time, you're going to be getting it for $499. That's what's going to be. And I want to say to someone, might say, oh, I have to pay $499. Guess what? If you don't invest in yourself, who is going to invest in you first? So one of the ways that you position yourself for impact, influence, and wealth in 2023 is by investing in yourself as well. You invest in yourself. And that's talking about personal growth. You're investing in your personal growth. And so but you don't have to pay the $499 at once. For those that want to join, I'm going to drop a link whereby you can sign up in the YouTube. For those watching on YouTube, you can sign up for that. You get to pay monthly. It's $166 a month for 3 months, and you get to have access to me for 3 months. And I told you it's a 12-week coaching, it's group coaching and one-on-one coaching. It's mixed up. So when you sign up, you'll be able to get more information about the position for impact, influence, and wealth in 2023. And guess what? For those that might say, oh, I want to sign up right now. I'm going to sign up by the 31st of December. I have a special bonus for you as well. So guess what? If you sign up by the 31st of December, I have a special bonus for you. So we're going to keep that for those that are going to sign up. So I'm so excited because 2023, there's so much ahead. I also would like to invite you to, I have Visualizing 2023 coming up. Is a goal setting masterclass I'm going to be having in January 2023. There would be the link to register for that. It's a free masterclass. I would love to invite you to that. It's a free masterclass you can attend January 2023. We want to help you to set up, talk about your vision board, talk about a bit more about what I spoke about with vision here. I'm going to be speaking about that, how to set up a vision board, 12 ways that you can set every goal and make sure you hit it every time. We're going to be talking about that in Visualizing 2023. And guess what? For those that are in the Mentoring Academy, they get to come for free, which is awesome. But it's going to be a phenomenal time. I'm so excited. Visualizing 2023. So it's a free masterclass. You can sign up right here. I will drop a link to that as well. I'm so excited about this. All these phenomenal things happening starting January 2023. For those that are in the Mentoring Academy, So there are some new things brewing regarding the Mentoring Academy. So watch out, watch out, watch out. It's getting more exciting. So exciting. And I want to also say thank you for everyone that has been watching and has been listening to this podcast. I'm so grateful for every single one of you. Guess what? Because for every single one of you, you spend time listening, watching throughout this year. I'm so grateful for you. I want to say a big thank you to you. Thank you so much for being a part of my community. Thank you for letting me speak, into your life. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey. It's been a phenomenal year for us. It's been a phenomenal year, and I can't wait for what God has unfolded for us in the coming year. Have an amazing new year. It's going to be exciting. So watch out. More details are going to be coming regarding all of these activities. If you're watching on YouTube, you're going to be able to see all the links there. And even for those listening on the podcast, I'm going to drop all the links there as well. It's going to be awesome. Have a phenomenal day. I'll see you next week. Or rather, I should say, I'll see you next year. Bye, everyone.